Hey everyone, and welcome to a brand new video. I'm going to be talking about version 0.4 and the features that you can expect from version 0.5. 0.4, I actually made a blog post about this on May 31st this year. I will link this is my website, by the way. I'll link this in the description down below, so if you want to read it by yourself, you can. One of the most notable features are the batch render. I actually modified the batch render by a lot. Make sure you follow the Chono series for the batch rendering. He made an amazing series for that. But what I did was the way that we render shapes is completely different. If you look at the blog post, I mentioned that all of the shapes by default are unit, one by one. So they are unit sized, and all I do is just multiply a transformation matrix. So what is a transformation matrix, by the way? It's basically TRS, translation into rotation into scaling. And then I just multiply individual vertex with the transformation matrix. Now we also have the physics API. I'll just show you the demo real quick. So as you can see, this is the one, and if I just run that once again. So you can see that the physics works really well. Even with this platform in a 45-degree slope, it works really well without problems. And as you can see, we can show colliders, we can hide them. Yeah, it works. We can also play audio, so I'll play some audio. So yeah, it's E1 M1 Doom, but so it works really well. As you can see, audio support, and even event systems. As you can see, it can detect window resize events and other events as well. I haven't added the logs for that yet, but as you can see, we have window resize events, all of that. If I go back into the blog post, we also have improvements to the physics API. The physics API now has no render method. Previously, in the previous video, I had a render method that takes care of the rendering, but it was too hard coded, meaning that you can't really choose the shape that you want to draw. So now what you can do is you can simply, in your sandbox, create your own function to render your physics body. You don't have to use the render method that's included in the physics API in version 0.3. There are several functions like draw quad and draw rotated quad. So rotation works and no rotation works as well. And collider stuff, so if I just show that real quick, this is basically box 2D visualization. It shows whether the positions are all correct, the sizes are all correct, or something like that. So if I just as you can see, yeah, the box 3D stuff works really well, and this is all because of the new renderer API. Yeah, so we have all of that. We also have drawing lines. We can draw lines now. We can draw points. All of that is possible because of the new batch renderer, and also the physics stuff as well. I've rewritten the physics API a couple of times. And for audio, I'm using So Loud. So if I go into the GitHub page, you can see that this is a pretty popular project. Now you might be asking, why not use Fmod or maybe OpenAL? The main reason is because OpenAL is a bit complicated. It shows a lot of similarities to OpenGL. I don't want to write everything from scratch again. I want to create wrappers around the APIs. It's a huge waste of time. So what I've decided is to use So Loud. Again, it's pretty easy to set up So Loud. Once you add it as your module in your project, you have this. So this is all the audio APIs, as you can see. And if I go into the sandbox real quick, you can see that I can play the audio using this. So yeah, pretty cool stuff in 0.4. So what exactly is gonna be in 0.5? So now, some of the few things are going to be text rendering. Currently, we don't have any text, any way of rendering text. I think Learn OpenGL made a, yeah, he has something related to text rendering. He uses free type, but yeah, this looks a bit complicated. But I think we can pull this off. It's not like the hardest thing in the world. Yeah, it's a bit involved than drawing a shape, I guess. So I'll probably use free type. I do have free type in my project. I wanted to include that in version 0.4, but it was already too late. I can't just add every single feature. So I just wanted to get something done. And we also want sprite rendering. So yeah, another sprite rendering is something that's missing in this release. I want to add texture rendering, sprite rendering, and text rendering, all of them in this release, but unfortunately I didn't have too much time to add all of that. But I think I'm pretty satisfied with version 0.4. Perfectly fine. Hopefully we get sprite rendering, and obviously I did mention simulations, because how about we just get a sprite and make it react to the environment. Obviously we gotta add box 2D to it, all the physics simulations to it, so it's gonna be a bit complicated. I don't know how you do it, but yeah. And add more geometry to the batch renderer. Of course we gotta add some other shapes as well, maybe some custom shapes that you can add by yourself, or maybe circles aren't added to the engine yet. When I add circles, I obviously need to implement circle related box 2D stuff. It's going to be huge work. Texture rendering, a better way to visualize physics bodies. So this is something I want to talk about. A better way to visualize physics bodies is an important thing, because as you extend your physics API, things start to break, and it's obviously really hard to switch between different views. Right now, yeah, I know we can show the colliders, but there's a lot more to visualizing physics. So of course I want to make a separate IMGUI window with all of the physics rendered onto that window, and when I want to see what's wrong with the actual rendering, I can just take a look at that. For this, we can use frame buffers. I actually implemented, if I show that, if I open up buffer.cpp, yeah, we have frame buffers over here. I tried to get this to work as well, but it didn't work for some reason. It was showing like a black texture, or sometimes it would just crash. So I wouldn't, yeah, I guess it didn't work. So this is something that you would see in a game engine, in an actual game engine. Of course this is OpenGL, but I think again Box2D uses OpenGL to show all of those bodies. So yeah, we can use frame buffers. As you can see, even this blog post mentions frame buffers and IMGUI. So just render all of that as a simple image. And we also have yeah, not much, and I want to add an entity system. So if I go into here, this is an entity system I want to add, and probably a UI example. As you can see, the main reason I want to add this is because if you think about it, if I go into the actual, let's just say I want to change the color. Obviously there's no way that I can do it from here. Let's just say I want to change the position. Let's just say I want to change the angle, not just for a single body, but let's just say for the platform as well. Now I gotta add everything manually. Instead of doing that, I could add an entity component system. Now when I say entity component system, I literally don't mean an entity component system. I mean a simple way of managing entities. I don't want this to be an overkill. As you can see over here, adding and deleting components. So yeah, a lot of stuff we could add. I don't really know a good entity system example. Entity component system, there are many libraries out there, like for example if I search for entity, if I go into here, as you can see, this is a good way to manage entities. It has a built-in RTDI system. I think it's an ID system, I guess. So yeah, you can see that we have this. Let's see, so we have structs, one for position, one for velocity. We have an update function, user range based for loop, and yeah, I don't know. Yeah, as you can see, yeah, it's pretty easy to include an entity system, but I don't want to use a library for the entity system. Again, you can use, I don't have anything against this, it's just that I want to add something on my own. I want to implement something on my own. So entity system would be nice because, you know, maybe in the future we want to add several components, like for example, I don't know, just say that we have a create entity button. We can create a shape, then add a box collider, and then maybe a circle collider if it's a circle, or just a shape collider if it's just a normal shape. So all of that in this sandbox would be really nice. Of course, that's the plan for the next release of Freeze Engine. I will be updating the blog post if I have any huge updates. Not much, a single blog post again on May 31st. If you want to support my project and all of that, you can go into the GitHub. This is my channel, and if you have any issues related to my content or anything, you can just email me over here. I will put the link in the description down below for this website. Again, yeah, not much, but I want to give you an update about everything that's going on. I also wanted to make a video on NeoVim because apparently it's been quite some time since I made any video on NeoVim. So maybe I'll probably make the video on that as well. Hopefully that will blow up, And yeah, so that's all for this video. Hopefully you like this. Make sure you like the video, subscribe the channel. Make sure you check out the blog for more updates. I'll be posting more blogs if I don't have time for making videos. So yeah, that's all, and I will see you in the next one.